If UDA had a wish that was larger than any other wish they have as a political party, it would be the desire to have Kenya politics without Raila Odinga. And for very obvious reasons. That is why you'll always hear the narrative sending Raila back to Bondo. Yeah, a narrative that we have had for a very long time, since 2017, and has now been taken up by UDA, whose favorite topic is that Raila is too old. Now, of course, it's common sense, very obvious, that if Raila was not a major factor in our politics, nobody would be interested in speeding up his retirement. Nobody would be interested in wishing for his retirement. Nobody would be interested in taking up a lot of their time firing barbs at Raila Odinga, organizing for cartoons in the mainstream media, making fun of this direction Raila has promised his people, which never seems to come, according to this UDA narrative. And that is what my show is about today. This direction that Raila Odinga has promised, according to UDA, keeps on promising. When is it coming? What direction will this direction head to? Do we have any rough idea? Do we have even an inkling of an idea of what Raila has in mind? Because we know one thing for sure, even the UDA High Command knows, that when Raila gives direction, people will follow. There will be action immediately. And indeed, that direction has been promised for this very month, this month of January. Let's get down to this show. We have quite a bit to unpack so that we understand. And who knows, maybe we make one or two predictions of what might happen next. Karibuni sana. Happy New Year to those who have not yet wished Happy New Year. In this brand new year that I rededicate myself with all my strength and all I have in doing what I believe I was born to do, analyzing Kenyan politics for a better Kenya. Twende kazi. There are those who feel that this time round there is something slowing down Raila. They feel that Raila has not been decisive in his decisions, in his actions, and in giving people direction. And the people in this school of thought point to the past. What happened after the 2017 presidential elections? Raila gave direction immediately. He unleashed a man called Miguna. You remember that? And some products were boycotted very effectively. But this time round, Raila seems hesitant. He seems slow in giving direction. What is he waiting for? Is there something very important Raila is waiting for? Before he speaks to his many followers in the country called Kenya? Before he speaks to the millions who sacrificed, did everything in their power to get to a polling booth last August to vote for Raila the 5th? Now, one of the super fascinating points that I'm emerging, you better get ready for this one, although I've mentioned it briefly before. One of the very super fascinating points that has clearly come out is that even when Raila does not give direction, there is effect, there is impact. You see, after our elections last August, presidential elections, many Kenyans went into mourning. There is more than enough evidence to prove. There is solid evidence, very obvious for everybody to see, if you look, that after the August presidential elections, many Kenyans boycotted mainstream media. A vast majority of these Kenyans are the ones who voted for Raila. A vast majority of these Kenyans were firm supporters, are still firm supporters of Raila Odinga. Nobody told Kenyans to behave like this, although we know Kenyans were in mourning. Kenyans could not believe the election results. Many Kenyans still don't believe the presidential election results. Many of them still say they were Chebukati results. Source of those results are known still. But Raila did not give any direction. Raila or his handlers did not tell Kenyans to boycott mainstream media. But that is what happened. And the effect was devastating. Let me simplify this so that we all understand, because I appreciate the fact that we are not all media experts. These advertisers who advertise in our mainstream media, which country do they live in? Over 90% of them, they live in Kenya. So you place an ad where you usually place it, maybe in a newspaper, in a leading newspaper, or maybe on television. And usually you get a certain response. Yeah, your products move, whatever it is you're advertising. And so after the August elections, you do what you've always been doing. And you're devastated. No response. Which makes sense. Because if a vast majority of Kenyans, millions, have boycotted the media, it means they didn't see your ad. No response. People can't respond to something they didn't see or take in. So what do these advertisers do? They stop their ads. Others go slow on their ads. Now take careful note of the fact that all this was happening at a time when the Kenyan economy was already in trouble. And we all saw the results. Major media houses laid off a huge chunk of their staff. High-profile journalists, well-known journalists from media houses were told to go home. The crisis in the Kenyan media is still far from over. Indeed, I personally believe it has only just started. Now contrast that to a situation where Raila Odinga had been announced the winner of the presidential elections. What do you think would have happened? I am more than convinced that nobody would have been laid off. Big star journalists would not have been told to go home. No way. My point is, even without saying anything or doing anything, this man, hate him or like him, this enigma, Raila Odinga, had a huge impact in the country called Kenya after the elections. And we are still feeling the impact and effects of that. Folks, that is the truth. But let me not lose track of our main topic here, what we're discussing today. Why is Raila Odinga hesitant? First of all, maybe we need to ask, is he hesitant? Has he been slow this time round to respond, to give direction to his people? I'm afraid, looking back at the life of this great Kenyan, The answer to that question is yes. So the next question is, why? What is the reason? Now again, we can get an important clue from the past. One thing we know about Raila is that he does not jump into anything unless he has already done his careful calculations. He knows exactly where he's going. He knows, for instance, exactly where he's going to be a few months down the road. In this direction he has decided to take. For instance, when Raila Odinga shocked all of us and went into a handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta on the stairs of Harambee House in March 2018, many analysts, including yours truly, yes, I confess, were sure that this time round Raila Odinga had not completed his hesabu. He had not done his calculations properly. Because there were so many things that were bound to go wrong. And it was very clear that those things were most probably bound to go wrong. For instance, the radical wing of the Jubilee Party then, supporters of Uhuru Kenyatta, who were very strongly against Raila Odinga. Indeed, they couldn't stand Raila Odinga. And so it was easy to predict that somewhere down the road, we were headed for a major showdown between the radicals in President Uhuru Kenyatta's camp and Raila Odinga and his people. Indeed, initially we even saw signs of it. But guess what? It never happened. The handshake lasted until the elections to replace Uhuru Kenyatta, who had finished his second and last term. Anyway, my point is, Raila has shown us again and again that he does not make a move unless he is sure. So what has made Raila Odinga unsure this time? Some of my sources are telling me that Raila Odinga did not have enough information. You know, there are those managers who will never make a decision until they have enough information. You push them, you put pressure on them, you threaten them. They will not make that decision until they have enough information to make that decision. And then there are those managers who make decisions based on their instincts. They feel this is the right thing to do and they do it immediately without any information. Now, those who know Raila Odinga, those who have worked closely with him, those who have followed his political career for a long time, will tell you that this man places a lot of emphasis on information. Things happen and people are shocked that Raila already knows shortly after they've happened, and they wonder how. In the past, Raila has even been able to get very sensitive information about the Kenyan military and the role they are going to play in an election. I'm talking about 2017, when the NASA coalition called a press conference in which Raila Odinga detailed a covert military operation linked to rigging the 2017 presidential elections. I'm sure some of us remember that. And some of us are still scratching our heads and trying to solve the mystery of how he could even have come anywhere near such information. Bottom line, this man gathers information constantly, persistently, consistently, all the time. But this time round, it seems he didn't have the information. That's the truth. But this issue is even more complex than one might imagine, because we know, at least I happen to know, that Raila obtained most of this information last year by late October. And that is when he started promising his supporters to give them direction on what to do next. But from that time, what has happened, let's be very truthful, is that Raila has kept on postponing that time when he'll give his supporters, and indeed a vast majority of Kenyans, direction. There was a time when we thought that this was it, when Raila Odinga launched his countrywide protest rallies against the removal of the Cherera 4 from the IEBC. I'm sure most of us remember that. And then we had that rally at the Kamkunji grounds, and we were promised that on Jamhuri Day there would be parallel Jamhuri Day celebrations, where the guest of honor would be Raila Odinga. That was postponed. And we were forced back into the waiting game. Gosh, what's going on here? Now here's the answer and the conclusion. And if you're standing up, I suggest you sit down. Although I'll not be able to break this down for you, you'll need to read between the lines. But at least it's something for now. In future videos, as everything unravels, I will reveal more. But the answer to that burning question is as follows. The enigma is battling very powerful forces. That's number one. Number two, he has allies on his side in this fight. And it is a very important battle, because it is a battle for the very soul of the country called Kenya. Now, when you have people who you're working together with, what happens? It means that you cannot move forward at the speed at which you'd like to move. Kama beshte moja anakuambia subiri kidogo, itabidi tungoje hii na hii na hii ndo tuweze kusonga mbele. What are you going to do? Are you going to move forward without them? No! Not when the stakes are so high. You'll be forced to wait. You'll be forced to postpone what you may have promised others earlier. You really have no other option. Kama wewe unafuatanga tu siasa za Kenya, local, hauangaliangi nje ya Kenya, hii itakuwa ngumu sana kuelewa. That's the truth. But 2 weeks ago, at a funeral in Migori, where Raila Odinga spoke, and he spoke in Doluo, he said, this one is not over. And this was reported in the mainstream media. Chances are that you missed it. Maybe you're very excited over the Christmas holidays and you missed it. That's okay. He said, this one is not over. And he promised that he will definitely give direction in January 2023. That is the month we are in right now. We're already into the second week of January. That means at any time we will get that direction. At any time, Raila will be ready with those who are supporting him. And as we saw earlier in this video, we have already seen the impact of Raila doing nothing. Therefore, we can already start to guess what the impact might be when Raila does something, gives his people direction for the liberation of the country called Kenya. I want to leave you with some very important clues that time is very close. Have you noticed that attacks against Raila Odinga have been stepped up? Have you noticed there's so much talk about 2027? and the political alignments for 2027. And the new Ruto administration has not even settled down. Have you noticed that? To me, those are clear pointers telling us that Raila Odinga's opponents know that time is short and they're doing everything in their power to lessen the impact of whatever it is that Raila is going to do next, of whatever it is the direction that Raila is going to give to his followers. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.